Good morning, British literature students. Welcome to the fourth week of the fall 2017 semester. Now, you'll notice that I'm not wearing my usual polo shirt nor a button-down shirt or anything like that. That's by design. Today, of course, is Labor Day. So, normally I wouldn't post this video until Tuesday, but you've got some pretty heavy-duty reading to do this week. You've got Mary Wollstonecraft and an excerpt from Vindication of the Rights of Woman. And then you've got William Blake and you've got John Keats. So I'm giving you this video and the assignments on Monday instead of Tuesday. Excuse me. Even though Monday is Labor Day, the trade-off is you get this. So that's how that works. All right, a couple things I want to note. First of all, I have graded your discussion posts or your reader response postings from week 2, and I have returned those to you. There is an email that I've sent you that gives you instructions on how to open up the essay itself to read my detailed comments. I've also put comments in the grade book for you to help you understand how I arrived at your grades. I would highly recommend that you take the time to read through those. Now, some of you, before I could grade those, already submitted the week 3. And I apologize for that. I fell a little bit behind. I'll try not to stay that far behind in the future. But here's the deal I'm going to make for you. If you look through your comments and you see that your week 3 posting is suffering from the same mistakes that the week 2 posting is, please send me an email. Let me know that you want a redo, and I'll give you a little do-over so that you can try to make the week 3 posting better than the week 2 posting was. Now, if you got an A on your week 2 posting, and several of you did, then perhaps you won't need a do-over. But if you do, let me know. I also sent out an email on Sunday, which will be yesterday for many of you, stating that I'm aware that some of you are having trouble getting textbooks, either for financial reasons or because the bookstore didn't have them. I want you to know that you need to let me know if you're one of those people. And please respond to the email I sent you if you are. I will try to work with you, especially since part of the problem is that the bookstore didn't have the books. You won't be able to find some of these readings on the internet. For example, this week's Vindication of the Rights of Woman. That is about a 30-something page book. You're only going to have to read about, however many pages are in our textbook. So you don't want to read the whole thing because, first of all, you'll be wasting time, and second of all, you'll be writing about something in the reader response that I don't really know anything about. So make sure that you have the textbook. If you don't, let me know. I'll try to set up some new due dates for you. I might even let you retake the quizzes or whatever in order to help you. But really, we're in week 4 now, so you should have already gotten the book by now, whether you had to order it through Amazon, whether you had to borrow money from somebody, or whatever. But I'm going to try to be understanding here and work with you. All right, now let's talk about this week's readings. First off, let's start with Mary Wollstonecraft, because it'll be the longest and most complicated reading. Mary Wollstonecraft is going to make the argument in the excerpt that we're going to read from Vindication of the Rights of Woman that little girls need to get the same education little boys get. Women need the same education that men get. And by giving women this education, women will make better wives and they will make better mothers, because women need to understand why they need to be moral. So the thing about this is that women at this time were being trained to have something called accomplishments, and they were being trained to essentially attract a husband. But they weren't being trained how to be a good wife or mother once they got that husband. All they were trained to be was cute and, adorable, and to know a little bit of music and to know a little bit of poetry and know a little bit of art and know a little bit of how to sew and how to whatever. But they weren't being trained on how to keep a husband once they got one. So Wollstonecraft's going to make the argument here that women should get the same education that men do, because then they will stimulate their man won't get bored with them, and they will be on par with the men, if you will. And men are more attracted to women that are as smart as they are and can stimulate them intellectually than they are with women who only stimulate them physically, especially once the women start getting older. They have kids and put on some weight and they age a little bit and they lose that luster. Then what has the woman got left? So Mary Wollstonecraft's going to make the argument that women need to be educated for that reason. Mary Wollstonecraft is one of the very first ever feminist authors. In fact, she was probably, if not the earliest feminist, one of the very earliest feminists. So that'll be something for you to think about as you read through Vindication. Vindication does get a little repetitive at times, but I think it's worth being repetitive because it'll help you on the reading quizzes. Now, we've got a second discussion that's based upon two other poets. Unfortunately, I could not find a way to combine Wollstonecraft with Blake and Keats, so I have to have two different discussion responses for that. There'll be about, I think, 3, maybe 4 other weeks throughout the rest of the semester where you'll have 2 responses. Most of the time, you'll only have 1. But that's one of the reasons why I'm doing this video for Labor Day rather than doing this video for Tuesday instead. So it'll give you an extra day. For Blake, what you need to know is that take a good look at that slideshow I gave you, that PowerPoint slideshow in the Week 4 folder about William Blake, because he wrote 2 books of poetry. One is about innocence and the other is about experience. And innocence is childlike. It's what children experience before they realize that the world is an evil place. Experience comes from hard luck. And many times children get experience at much younger ages than we would like to think they do. And that even occurs today. Sometimes if a child comes from a bad home, the child has worldwide experience, by his 5th birthday. And that's not a good thing, but it is reality. So, the poems in Songs of Innocence and the poems in Songs of Experience are flip sides to the same coin. Now, I've only got you reading one of those sets, which is The Lamb and the Tiger. But if you're really interested, go through some of the others in the textbook. There's The Chimney Sweep. There is The Nurse's Song. There are several other poems that match up with each other that show opposite sides of the same coin. Now, for The Lamb and the Tiger, the irony is that the lamb is so gentle and sweet and the tiger is ferocious, not evil. If you put in the quiz that the tiger is evil, you will get that answer wrong. But it is ferocious and it is a killer. But it doesn't kill out of spite and it doesn't kill out of hatred. It kills because it needs to eat the lambs in order to survive. So bear in mind as you read these that the gentle lamb and the ferocious tiger, according to Blake, are made by the very same creator. The very same God that created the gentle lamb also created the ferocious tiger. Why? Well, there's a reason for it. Our ecosystem depends upon predators that thin out the herd, if you will. So think about those things as you read through Lamb and Tiger. And then John Keats. John Keats was very concerned about mortality, not morality, mortality. In fact, I actually want you, in the reader response questions I put down, talk about his thoughts on mortality, not morality. Morality is knowing the difference between right and wrong and living the right way. Mortality is actually life. It is how long we live. Ironically, even with John Keats's obsession over mortality, he died at a very young age. He was in his mid-20s when he passed away from tuberculosis, which he caught by taking care of his sick brother. So it was a contagious disease. He got it. He died at a much younger age than he should have. And when we get into the late Romantics next week, we're going to see that both Lord Byron and Percy Shelley also died at much younger ages than they should have. He was obsessed with eternal life. So you're going to see as you read the Elgin Marbles and you read the Grecian Urn that, first of all of these, both of those poems were inspired by Grecian artifacts, and by Grecian I mean from Greece. Grecian artifacts that are in the British Museum, even to this day. And honestly, the Greeks want that stuff back. They're not happy that the British took them out of Greece and brought them to England. But they're still in the British Museum and probably will be for the foreseeable future. But bear in mind that Keats talks about mortality, and he talks about art as well. He's very concerned about what role art plays. And he blends the two together in both the Elgin Marbles and in Grecian Urn. So think about life, how finite life is, or immortality. In the Grecian Urn, we see that maybe eternal life isn't such a great thing after all. And we kind of see that too in the Grecian Urn, the Elgin Marbles, when we see about his discussion about how the Elgin Marbles are old, but they're also decaying. So there is that, plus the Grecian Urn being frozen in time. These are moments frozen in time. Bear all of that in mind as you read your two Keats poems. Now, these videos are not supposed to last as long as this one has, but I've had a lot to talk about. But take a look at the postings, or your grades on the reader response postings from last week. Let me know if you need a do-over. Let me know if you can't get a book. You need to get that book as soon as possible, though, because my patience will run out at some point. Also, bear in mind what I've told you about Wollstonecraft, Blake, and Keats as you do those readings. Replay this video a couple times if you have to. Go through those PowerPoint slideshows. Those PowerPoint slideshows are there to help you understand as well. And I look forward to seeing what you have to say about this week's slate of authors.